What's up, everybody? This is Eric from GB Games, and this is another Dracanea developer log. It is cold and nasty out, so I've got a nice cup of coffee, and I'm ready to do some work in Unity, where we're gonna, yet again, just place a bunch of objects in the scene and build some maps. Right now, we're working in Port Vista, which I think we have covered once before. Might have mentioned another video. This is actually based on my hometown of Port Vista. Port Vista is the video game location. It's based on the real life place that I live right now, which is Patchogue here on Long Island. And we're not actually going to be doing anything in the outside itself. This is already pretty well covered. We got, well, yeah, we got errors going on because actually there's a event trying to take place or some sort of schematic, but whatever, that's besides the point. Anyway, we're not going to be working here. Instead, we're going to be working indoors, and this building specifically takes place in Chapter 3. This is supposed to be actually based on our apartment building because, not to get into the weeds of the story, but you end up coming to the town here and you catch the Queen's aide, Endora, sneaking around. And it seems like she's up to no good, but you find out what she's actually doing. And I won't spoil that for anyone who wants to engage the actual story at a later date. Anyway, let's clear this out of the console because we're not actually playing or testing anything right now. But so let's start off just by, let's start on the first floor here. So yeah, we actually live in, it's called Art Space in real life, and it's a building that's supposed to be devoted to artist residents here in Patchogue. And so I thought it'd be a fun place to base a location in Dracanea off of, just because video games are art, are they not? I think everyone agrees with that at this point. So the first floor is actually probably going to be pretty wide open for the time being, just because I have some ideas for later on down the line as I get closer to the end of development. I have ideas for maybe featuring digital gallery space, I want to call it. Something where I want to work with the local art gallery and the local like art council and see if maybe people want to, I don't know, feature artwork that could be displayed in here. Be a funny take on real life in the game. So that's what this large room on the left is actually going to be devoted to. We're not going to worry about that for now. For now, we're mostly just going to be placing objects in here. And it's not the most heavily decorated location for the time being, just because it is supposed to be an art gallery. And it's going to be, like I said, it'll be in the future, I'll try to populate it with real artists' actual contributions. But for now, let's get some plants in here. Let's see, I don't know if that's too crowded. We got those two there. We'll stick another one in the corner. Yes, we actually do have plants in the stairwell. Or actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there was a really tall plant that might actually be dead now that I think about it. It was like huge. Seriously, it was like 15 feet tall. I think it died last year, though. I don't remember it. I feel like it might have been removed and then at a later, or I don't know if it died and someone moved it, and there is a pot down there now. I feel like there's a sapling in it. I don't know. I could go run down real quick, but then that wouldn't be the greatest radio or video, I suppose. Just leave you on dead air for 2 minutes while I run downstairs. Anyway, in the meantime, that door's probably not going to lead to anywhere. It's just for decoration. But I'm trying to think of what actually over here. Like, we do have a couple of tables, so let's throw some tables in here. The gallery itself, it's funny. I may as well take this opportunity. Just here's what this episode is going to be. It's going to be me decorating this building and complaining about our actual building that we live in that was the inspiration for this building. I won't make it as crappy in the game, since that won't be very enjoyable, but yeah, for starters, we had, for the longest time, there was a leak in the gallery, like just water pouring down and dripping, and they were catching it in buckets. That was going on for weeks. And fun fact, it actually was coming from our closet, because we saw this leak happening for about 2 weeks, and last year our this same closet that I'm talking about, that actually had a huge flood in it last year because they had a pipe burst on the 5th floor, and I don't know. So it was pouring down like all the utility closets were in the same location, and just like a big stack. So everyone's utility closets got flooded. Ours did the same, and we didn't lose a bunch of stuff, like just random things, like some boxes, some wrapping paper ended up getting like wet and moldy, so it wasn't like a huge deal, but it was a pain in the ass. Anyway, that was last year. This same exact closet flooded, or not flooded, but had another leak in it just a month or two ago, and so we discovered that, like, I want to say 3 weeks after the gallery itself below us started leaking. So fortunately it didn't cause any damage, but it was a pain in the ass clearing everything out of the closet that we just cleared it out last year from that flood. And yeah, well, that's not a one-off either. This building, I'm not exaggerating, there's probably a leak or a problem with the with floods or pipes bursting. It's at least every 6 months there's a leak or a flood somewhere in this building. And it's only 11 years old, and somehow it's falling apart after 11 years. I think the company who, I guess it's the building or the management company that owns it or runs it, I don't think they spent a lot of money on it, to be honest. So, all right, so we got a couple of benches here. Trying to think. Up until a couple of years ago, they had another issue where, I'm not making this up, anytime it would rain coming from like the northeast, we had water pour out from our baseboards by our window. And that was fun. Specifically, we had one year where I came home from work and just found huge flood in the living room. So, not that the closet flooding was particularly pleasant last year, but at very least it was just like the utility closet. Years ago, when I came home to this massive flood in the living room, that sucked, because that was, we're talking about rugs getting wet, rugs getting sopping wet, the couch getting water, like in the bottom of the couch. We had to move stuff. There were cables and stuff just sitting in standing water. That happened a couple of times until they did something on the 4th or 5th floor exterior, and they finally fixed that. So you live here for long enough, and yeah, you're gonna get a flood of some sort. Okay, let's throw some more plants in here, because this hallway does have a few plants in it. Where are we at? Objects, here we go. Right, we'll throw a couple of plants in the corner here. Now, this is actually making me realize I could stand to create a few different. I gotta create a couple of variations of this plant, because I basically got a flower, a generic plant, and this right here, which is, I guess, like a Dracanea, or like a just generic potted plant. So we got, and then there's a tiny little cactus here. It's leaving a little bit to be desired, honestly. So let's get rid of those. Stick this one here. that could be something we come back to another day. We can do some work in Photoshop and make some different types of potted plants for houseplants. Hey, houseplants are trendy now, right? So everyone's got plants. Oh, may as well reflect that in the game. So let's see. Let's get a table out here. And where can we find a table? It's one. I swear, like, even though all this is alphabetical and I'm the one that sorted it, I feel like half the time I can't actually find things. That's a little big. Let's shorten that. Oh, that's a little chunky too. That's way too. Yeah, let's make that 0.75 maybe. That's a little better. That's not bad. We'll drop this down to 0.9 on the y-axis. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we got a table there. And then we can drag that down here. We have a couple. Pull one down there, pull one down there. Let's do a couple of bookshelves in here while we're at it. Let's see. We don't actually, in the real life building this is based off of, we don't actually have bookshelves, but it doesn't have to be one-to-one with real life, right? Upstairs, actually, the third floor above us, they have a bunch of furniture. They make our floor like crap. I feel bad. Our floor is just kind of empty. We got plants. That's about it. It's up to the residents to populate it with stuff, and it's tough because you really want to like spend time. People spend time decorating their houses, so I guess it's the hallway outside is an afterthought at that point. The third floor, though, they have bookshelves and couches and chairs, and like it's really cool up there. I wish we lived on the third floor, honestly. It's funny, I actually have a second or third cousin, like a literal cousin, like blood family relative, lives directly above us, and haven't spoken a word to him since we moved here. Like we've been living here about 8 years, I want to say, and he moved in maybe 5 years ago, and we just never see each other. We never run into each other. Sometimes we hear his cat dropping stuff and knocking stuff onto the floor above us. But besides that, I haven't interacted. It's like a weird, like, I don't know, just like a weird existential thing where just our paths have never crossed, I feel like. Okay, let's get into this specific apartment. We got a couple of things. So we got a big table there. Let's go back to our objects folder. We gotta put a bunch of stuff in here. Jeez. Objects, house, and we got a cool table here. Center that. Gotta get some couches. So we'll do one couch here. We'll flip that on the x-axis. And then let's adjust the collision on that. So there's bring that. Boom. While I'm complaining about this apartment building, the real life version, another funny story is we haven't had recycling bins on our floor for, I want to say, 3 or 4 years now. They're supposed to be here, but as punishment, the management company will take them away just as because you're supposed to sort recycling, which that's fair. It has to be sorted. You can't just put everything together unless you live in a place with single stream recycling or whatever it's called. That's besides the point. So, unfortunately, when you're dealing with, a dozen households, like not everyone follows the rules and not everyone sorts the recycling. In a case like that, occasionally you end up with stuff in the wrong recycling bin But rather than check the cameras and figure out who's doing it incorrectly, they just do the sort of like, oh, we're going to punish everyone sort of thing, which doesn't really work because, it's not like no one knows when someone doesn't sort correctly. So, like, if someone does it wrong one time and everyone on the floor is punished for it, it's not like the rest of the, like, every resident is going to band together and be like, who did it? Who's the one that put the plastic in the paper? Who put a cereal box? That's uncorrugated, bro. So instead, now just everybody loses out on the ability to recycle. So we either have to, you got to take it out somewhere to the recycling bins when they put them out on, I don't know, every Tuesday, I want to say, or you got to jackass your way up to like the 4th or 5th floors. Not to the 3rd floor, because the 3rd floor itself also is being punished and doesn't have recycling bins anymore. So, yay! Hooray for not recycling. Hooray for Mother Nature. The planet, it's like, guys, seriously? Get your shit together. But, yeah, unfortunately we can't. So, oh well. Trying to think of what other dumb bullshit do we have to put up with here. Well, for starters, the management company also, they don't allow bidets, which we just found out about a month ago or 2 months ago. Our management company, after years of us having a bidet attachment to our toilet and us having the superintendent of the building in our apartment multiple times, just out of the blue, they did their like annual inspection, like I say with huge air quotes. I actually did air quotes, not realize I'm not on camera, so no one can see that I'm doing air quotes. So just imagine air quotes. So their annual inspection, which they haven't done in, I want to say, 4 years. And out of the blue, they just decided, no, you bidet, no, that's not allowed. You can't have bidets in this building. They leak. Yeah, they're prone to leaking, so they're a danger. They're a hazard, yada, yada, yada. So we had to get rid of our bidet, and, no pun intended, it's shitty. Recall, I was talking about 5 minutes ago, I was talking about how our building notoriously just has leaks and floods from the pipes bursting all the time, or problems with the roof. And meanwhile, they're concerned about people with bidets for some reason, so whatever. Another problem that we're into is they're just impossible to get in touch with, like for emergencies and stuff. Let's see, what is, do I not have the top on here? Just a second. Take a break from complaining. Aha, we didn't have the roof attached here. There we go, because I was wondering why that table was sticking out. Or at least it wasn't overlapping correctly. Okay. Yeah, so it is very, very, very difficult to get in touch with the management company here. Because they have, they got an office in a few towns over who manages a bunch of their properties, and so you'll call in, like, for example, I want to say a month ago, I guess they were flushing the pipes, or they're doing pipe work somewhere in the area, and the water, like the tap water was coming out brown or like red, and sometimes that happens. But in this case, it was not stopping for like hours and hours, and like the water smelled funny. So it wasn't just like sometimes when you get your pipes flushed, you're like you run the water for like, I don't know, 5 minutes, and then after that it's back to normal. It wasn't going back to normal, so we tried calling the emergency line. Multiple residents calling the emergency line, and they basically were just like, we don't know what to tell you. We can, recommend that you go to the water authority and ask them, and they might be able to help. It's like, you know, what's the point of an emergency line if we can't actually get in touch with, you know, someone who can do something to help? So yeah, then, I mean, it ended up being okay, but when you're talking about drinking water, you don't really want to risk it when, you know, when your tap water coming out is like funny colors and smells like plasticky, and it won't go back to normal, period. So, let's see what else. What can we cram into here to decorate? You know, let's move. Speaking of pipes, let's move on to the bathroom. Actually, house. There we go. I'm always losing track of these folders. It's surprisingly difficult to. Not that this is terribly complicated, but trying to talk and navigate through 6 million folders down here, more challenging than you'd think. Let's see. I need to put a sink in here. Oh, bathtub too. There we go. We got a tub. And let's see. Where is that cabinet? So we need a cabinet here. Now, let's see if I make this a little wider. Is it? Oh, no, that's. Let's take that lock of the proportions off. So let's see if I make that a little. Yeah, that looks decent. It doesn't look too stretched. And then we need to do the same with a sink. So let's do one of these and one of these. Huh. Why are they not lining up? That's... Aha, there we go. Okay, so we got this and this. So let's shrink this down a little. Uh-oh. So if I do just the one, let's see. Ah, there we go. That looks good. Okay, perfect. Then we will. So we'll do that at 0.5. And then this could be 0.85. So we have a little, oops, it's taking it and splitting it in half. I was going to say, it could be like an IKEA where you just split them up. But I don't want to take jabs at IKEA. Honestly, IKEA jokes, I feel like are very played out at this point. Where's our sink at? Sink. Where are you? There we go. Sink. So we'll child that onto there. We could line that up a little bit better. Oh. Well. Yeah, okay, that works. But let's just increase the y-axis. There we go. Okay, and then let's stick some sort of shelfy thing in here just so that doesn't look quite as empty. Okay. Alright, moving back here. So this is supposed to have a few desks. How many of these can we fit in? Okay, good. So let's rotate that on the y-axis, flip that around. We'll have one here. Can we fit 3 in? 1, 2. Yeah, we can. We just got to move this all up, like 1 unit. There we go. And then let's see. They don't all need a book on them. So I'll get rid of that book. And instead, we will give it a pen. We get some ink. And then this one, we can move this book up a little. And you know what? Let's put some papers onto that table as well. Then we'll rotate those 90 degrees. Perfect. All right, so we got some work desks, and over here, I suppose, let's see. I'm trying to think, because I don't want this to be too cluttered, but it's a little barren right now. You know what? I didn't even finish putting plants on here. We got like 6 plants and then called it a day. Okay, let's see. All right, we got a cactus. We got just a viney looking plant. Let's do another cactus. We'll stick this over here. Move this vine plant over. Alright, that's not bad. We'll stick a couple of these guys in. So that way we got plants. And then I'm going to stick in the corner there. Shelf, a bench, a desk. What can we stick there? How about, yeah, will this fit? That's a little tight. I don't know. Tricky. Well, what if we just decrease the proportions a tiny bit? Does that help at all? You know, it does, but it's a little... There we go. And then we'll raise the y-axis a bit. Alright, there, that looks good. Okay, so this probably doesn't really need to be super duper any more crowded. And then over here, you know, let's stick another plant over here. The more and more I think about it, the more I'm like, I gotta add more. I gotta do more plant variations, because these are just sort of like, there's the same plant, there's the same plant, there's 3 of that plant, and that should be easy enough. Got the pot already made, so like I said, that can be a task for a rainy day. All right. Over here, you know what? Let's stick. This is the kitchen, so let's stick a few boxes, or just, where are the boxes at? Objects. Here we go. Okay, so it's got some storage. Who knows what they're storing there? It's a kitchen. You could boxes full of hamburgers, hot dogs, and then stick something here. We'll just do another shelf sticking out. Nah, that's not thick enough. Get rid of that. There, that looks a little better. Okay, this space, this is a little wide open right now, but that specifically is because I'm not going to bother with it right now because I got to do some programming and animating with it. But there's going to be a table here that's where you there's a story segment where they're making like magic games and stuff. And it's going to require basically I got to animate a table, if you could make sense of that. So that's something I'm not going to worry about for the time being. But instead, let's see. This is kind of, what does it look like if we stick some bookshelves over here? Not terrific, but not awful. Part of the problem is, could fill this up with shelving of some sort, but yeah, I don't know if it'll look good. Well, so you know what we'll do? We will stick a lamp over there, because who doesn't love a lamp? Let's stick a lamp over here, and then we will put a desk lamp over, I don't know, it's on this table. Nah, you don't need a desk lamp. We'll worry about that later. Alright. Well, this has been thoroughly fulfilling, I'm sure. Just a lot of rambling, a lot of complaining about our apartment building. But hey, when you rent, I feel like that's 30% of being a renter is complaining about your landlord. And if you're not, then I don't believe they're actually renting. So, okay, this should be good enough for the time being. Hopefully, next time we can do something more interesting instead of just objects. But I figured, since, like I said, it's a cold, nasty night, quiet, may as well just do some quick devlog stuff. But I think this should do it for now. As always, we appreciate you coming in, and I say we, like there's more than one person here. Anyway, it's the royal we. We appreciate you stopping in and listening to the dulcet, monotonous tones of me rambling on about couches and lamps and apartment buildings. Keep following up. We're making good progress in the game, and before you know it, hopefully you'll be ready to actually put some trailers out. Until then, like, subscribe, do the whole 9 yards with the YouTube stuff, and hopefully you like what you see, and we'll see you in the next one, alright? See you later.